Hello and welcome to another video. This is Voorhees Retro 81 and this is the slightly accidentally postponed second half of the 10 games I discovered while collecting listings. So yeah, I'm going to dispense with the niceties and get straight into the games this time around, as I've already started elsewhere. So got another stack of games. This one was a lot harder because I was like, oh god, I've got to figure out five for like the and then that's it. I could easily do another like 4 or 5 videos worth of these because there's so much stuff that I feel like gets overlooked that's really good on a lot of the systems that I pick stuff up for. Um, but yeah, will say this is veering more towards the like recent stuff rather than the retro stuff. But there's a bit of everything in these 5, so bear with. So cracking on first for the PlayStation 2, we have Urban Chaos. Now I feel like this is a hugely unfairly overlooked title. Let's see if we can get it. Ooh. It's probably gone out of focus now. So it's almost like a sort of prototype for like GTA 3, it feels like. And I don't think the company ever really did much else, which is a real shame. There is an Urban Chaos on PlayStation 2, which is another game that I would recommend actually. I think a sneaky 6th one in there. Go get Urban Chaos Riot Response because that is a badass first-person shooter. Don't pick it up if you're a kid, or sneak it in because like your parents will be like, you can't have that. It's proper nasty, that game, but it's awesome. But yeah, that is like it's kind of like a hybrid sort of driving, shooting, like beat 'em up kind of thing. Like the fighting is a bit, it's got like sort of fighting force, sort of Double Dragon style, like brawling. And then there's like driving around. The driving is not a strong point, I will say that. I spend most of the time in that game walking because like I know that the cars are just like, it's like driving a brick, so I don't normally bother. But yeah, sort of driving, shooting, puzzling. You have to do things like negotiate and such. Like the characters are really cool, really sort of different for the time, and not like it's got like a female lead, but it's not like big norks and whatnot. She's like sort of like really down to earth sort of badass woman, so it's pretty cool from that perspective. But yeah, really good game. Not difficult to find either. Just gets overlooked at the moment, seemingly still, which is, I mean, I think one of the things with it, it had a terrible demo back in the day. It had an awful demo. It was like you had a time limit that you couldn't beat, and like you couldn't even get to the mission area before the time limit had run off, and that mission doesn't even seem to exist in the game. So yeah, if you played the demo and thought, oh god, the demo was awful, why is Tom pulling that up? I ain't playing that. Pick it up because it's like sub 5 half the time. Especially like it's got various budget re-releases that are less expensive than the original Black Label and such like. So well worth checking that out. Second, before I waffle for the entire video about Urban Chaos, Hotel Transylvania. I hear some sighs in the background because this is not just a movie tie-in. This is a kids CG sideline movie, Adam Sandler tie-in, etc. I have never seen a film of this. I might eventually. I don't know. I'm like into my animation and such like, so I might watch it from that perspective. And it looks all right, to be honest. And I quite dig like anything that's kind of Adam's Family-ish and sort of faux gothic and whatever. But this is one of the lesser known and very good fun and with Metroidvania games, and it's actually by Way Forward, who did like the Shantae games, the Mummy games, River City Girls. I think they did Double Dragon Neon. Don't quote me on that. I'm sure that's a way forward game as well. And this is just as good as all of those. And I haven't finished it yet, but it feels like it's going to be quite short. But yeah, really enjoy this. Again, you see it knocking around, fairly easy to find, seems. And I mean, DS games are getting stupid at the moment. I did notice that after I did that DS video, like, and that was like a year ago, so Lord knows what it's like now. But definitely pick this up if you see it. It's an underrated, overlooked platform game, well worth your time. Right, so got two 360 titles here. The 360 is one of my favourite systems, and I'm kind of trying to like pick up anything that I missed at the moment. So, but I've had these both for a while now, and they're games that I come back to all the time. And one of them actually is one of the few games I've gone and bought the remaster of, which is rare for me because I'm kind of a bit like remasters. But that game is Bladestorm, the 100 Years War. I always forget whether it's the 100-Year War or the 100 Years War. So this is like a sort of alternate history retelling of like the sort of Joan of Arc, British French War era, the 100 Years War, as it says. And this is a really interesting, very different game. I have never played anything like this before, and I haven't played anything like this since. It runs, I think, probably on like the Samurai Warriors, Orochi Warriors, 360 kind of engine, but it's kind of like it's a real-time strategy game basically, and a sort of action real-time strategy game, and you don't directly control any of the attacks or defense that your characters do. You just sort of issue them commands, and you have control of moving them around. And basically, you have a command unit, and you pick a unit that you're going to take with them. And it sounds awfully complicated, but the way they handle it is done in a really sort of like bite-sized, kind of easy to get your head around fashion. I will say that although graphically I prefer the original, because the high def on the remaster on the PlayStation 4 makes everything very far away. Like they've sort of zoomed out of the action, and you feel less sort of involved in it. The sort of character leveling and such like works a little bit better on the PlayStation 4 version. I think that's definitely on the PC. I think it's on the Xbox One as well. It might be on the Switch. Don't quote me on that. Don't know the Switch library very well, or the Xbox One library. I'm a PlayStation 4 man when it came to that generation. But yeah, fab game. Do check it out, especially if you like sort of action RPGs, action strategy, anything like that. It's a really corking title. Moving swiftly on, because I can see the timer ticking away as I waffle. Second 360 game, Lord of the Rings, War in the North. I'm not a big Lord of the Rings head, I'll say that straight out, but this is one of the best action RPGs I've played. Period. Absolutely loved this. It's a bit more sort of AAA third-person-y kind of adventure game than action RPG to a certain extent, but just the way everything works in this, the combat's really like meaty. The characters are cool. The plot line is great. It's quite dark for like something that's tied into as mainstream sort of set up as Lord of the Rings. It feels more like kind of like Dungeons and Dragons or kind of Dragon Age kind of setup than like a Lord of the Rings type thing. This is just a fabulous game, and it's, as far as I'm aware, it's been completely overlooked, more or less. It's even been delisted from Steam. That's how crazy people sleeping on this game is. Anyway, great action RPG. Highly recommend it if you like your action RPGs, and highly recommend it if you like your fantasy games as well, or your hack and slash games, because it's the beat 'em up end of action RPGs. Like, you know, there aren't 2 minutes go in this that you're not hacking something to bits. So fabulous game. Check it out. Finally, before I go over time and YouTube slaps me around the face, Now this could have been a really sports heavy list, and I was kind of like, I don't want the whole thing to be sports games. So I will give honourable mentions quickly to NHL Rock the Rink, Tecmo Bowl, for the Game Boy Tecmo Bowl actually, because that game definitely slept on. Really great game. And Blades of Steel for the Game Boy. Uh, Again, love that. But we're picking arch rivals here. I think it's arch rivals, might be arch rivals. Never entirely sure how you're supposed to pronounce that. So this is like the precursor to NBA Jam, and I never really got on with NBA Jam, but this I love to bits. I don't know what it is about it. It's just it's a bit more simplistic, and I can tell what's going on a bit more because the graphics are slightly less complicated. I think the AI is stupider, which is I normally end up playing sports games on my own is good for me because like one of the things I can't handle about stuff like Speedball and whatnot is like you play it on your own and it sucks because the AI just like, annihilate you instantly even on the easiest difficulty level. That doesn't happen here. It's a pretty fair game. Great sort of cartoony graphics. I will be honest, the music's kind of not there basically. It's like got one music track or something, and it's like blips and bloops. So that's like a bit of a sort of black mark against it is that the music sucks. But it doesn't matter when you're playing the game. It's just really funny. You can punch people and knock people to the ground, and like if somebody's got the ball, you just run up and smack them in the face. It's kind of like sort of basketball road rash. So. Yeah, just a really great game, really fun to play, and I never look back picking this up. It's been fantastic. Anyhow, thank you very much for watching the video. I'm sure I'll be back soon. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful weekend, and peace out.